Welcome to another video on memorizing the Latin endings. This is the 7th in the series, and this is from Visual Latin 1. I covered this topic in lesson 26 of Visual Latin 1. This is the third declension neuter. We talked about the third declension last time, and as a quick reminder, the endings are nothing in the nominative. It varies. Is, I, em, e, es, ibus, es, ibus. So, those are the third declension endings, and if you're just memorizing them, you can just run down the list chanting them. Is, I, ime, es, ibus, es, ibus. Now, I want you to notice something. When we switch to third declension neuter endings, almost everything stays the same. I'm going to get rid of the nominative plural here. I'm going to get rid of the accusative plural here. And we're also going to eliminate the accusative singular. Everything else will stay the same. So if you've learned the third declension endings, honestly, you've already learned the third declension neuter endings. Let's take a look at a third declension neuter word. You'll notice that the nominative and accusative are blank on both of these, and that's because in the neuter, the nominative and accusative always stay the same. So let's take the word os. Os means mouth. Now I told you that the nominative and accusative always stay the same. That means that the accusative of os is os, no change. The root word of os, we find it by eliminating the genitive ending, right, once we have the word. The root word of os then is or, because to say of the mouth in Latin, you say oris. Oris. This is where we get words like oral. Like if you deliver an oral report at school, that report comes out of your mouth, obviously. It's not a written report, it's an oral report. To say to the mouth, ori. To say mouth again, like somebody hit my mouth, you would say posavit os, he hit the mouth. To say in the mouth, back to the root word, and remember you find the root, by dropping the genitive ending, so the root is or. So back to the root, ore, so in ore would be in the mouth, or cum ore would be with the mouth. We gave the report ore by means of his mouth, using his mouth. The plural of os, which is mouth, is ora. The es ending changes to an a. Remember, though, I told you that whatever happens in the nominative in neuter words happens in the accusative. So we can go ahead and put ora in right down here. So ora means mouths. To say of the mouths, orum. To say to the mouths, boy, I'm trying to finish that R there, and I'm not doing a good job. I'll leave it alone. To the mouths, oribus. Mouths, again, is ora in the accusative. And then the in the mouths, or with the mouths, or mouths in the ablative, oribus. And of course, I've got spaces here between these, but you wouldn't space those really. That's just to show you the root word and the ending. Okay, I hope that helps. If you already know the third declension endings, like I said, you've already really learned the neuter endings. The only real differences are here in the nominative and here in the accusative. Everything else, in every other case, the endings are the same. Os is a third declension neuter word. Let's look at a few others before we end this video. Other third declension neuter words in Latin: iter, itineraris, which means journey, and this is where we get the English word itinerary. So an itinerary is your plan for a journey, and you can see itiner right there in the word itinerary. Sometimes Latin will help you spell English words, not always, but sometimes. Actually, I should say often. Ius, iuris means justice, and this is where we get justice and justify, and you can see the use right there in the word. The Romans actually didn't have the letter J. They just used I for that sound. J came later, and whenever the J or the I, made a Y sound, or a j sound in Latin, it became a j. Opus means work. Operis means of the work. This is where we get the English phrase. It's actually a Latin phrase that is now used in English, Magnum Opus. Notice that opus looks like a second declension masculine word, but it's not. It's a third declension neuter word. And because it's neuter, magnum, the word describing it, is also neuter. That's why you say magnum opus, not magnus opus, because opus is neuter. Latus lateris means side. If you're familiar with American football, or maybe even rugby, I'm not really sure, there's a play that the football players can utilize, and that is called a lateral, and that is where when they see that a tackle is imminent, when they know they're going down, they might toss the ball to their side. The rule is that it has to go back. It can go to the side or behind them. It cannot go in front of them, and that is a lateral, from the Latin word latus, lateris, which means side. The last one is tempus, temporis. Tempus means time. Temporis means of time. Temporal is something that has to do with time. Okay, if you like that video, want to learn more about Greek, Latin, and their influence on our language English, then check out DwaneThomas.com. If you like this video and want to see more like it, then subscribe below.